stunning Scotland, we're managing remote island reds. We have more Shoot Curious this week, guns and shells.
So take plenty of squid.
I'm off to Switzerland to meet a man who's given up on wildlife documentaries to make hunting films. Plus, Crow is stealth foxing and explains what the fur market used to look for. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. It's Scotland at its finest, and we are here to enjoy every moment of it. There's the castle, the history, the characters, and of course, the shooting. German rifle and shotgun manufacturer Blaser has invited us, along with Will Hetherington, editor of Shooting Gazette, and Rebecca Green, editor of Sporting Shooter, to experience some of the best the West Coast, if not the country, has to offer.
This is a real gem where we'd like to come and just have a good time, because everybody here just works toward that goal, that we are having a good time, that everyone's comfortable and happy with what they're doing. And it's the whole approach that makes this place special, and it almost feels a little bit like family when we come here.
Earlier this year, Blaser launched the F16 shotgun. This will be our chance to see how it fares in the field with some fast-action woodcock shooting. Plus, our trip coincides with the hind season, so we're going to assist Niall Rowantree of West Highland Hunting with the cull programme.
We're looking at age, whether they're old and infirm. We're looking at whether they're poor, whether they're carrying any injuries, and then what we're trying to do is leave the strongest, fittest hinds in the herd to produce the biggest, strongest calves that we can.
And where we are heading off to today requires a little more planning than normal.
What we're off to today is we're heading over onto the Ardnamurchan Peninsula. So here we're looking up Highlands. On the right hand side we have the Roshvin and Inverailer deer forests, and this little peninsular land is largely uninhabited. There's a holiday house on it in a mountain bothy and a reasonable population of red deer. So we manage this population on behalf of the owners, and we take on average 10 stags and 10 hinds a year off it. So that's what we're off to do today. But as you can see with Stevie putting the stuff on the boat, everything goes over by boat, everything comes back by boat.
I've done it once before, and yes, it's always good fun. It's going to be better today, because last time it was quite choppy and we were worried about this little dinghy sort of tilting us in, but today's quite calm. Really looking forward to it. Conditions are more than sensational, and yes, let's just hope that we can have some fun over there.
On the skyline above us, deer are watching. There are some lower on the face, and a shot presents itself. And using Niall's Leica Geovid system, Robert makes a very good shot. The animals here will be half the size of those on ground Niall manages less than an hour away.
It's poorer grazing, and it's harsher environment, and they've basically adapted to a size that suits the environment they're in. If you go to the Outer Hebrides to Harris and Lewis, you'll find a sort of a big stag there is 9 or 10 stone in weight. So a good stag here will be, we have had big fellas here, but on average is about 14 stone, 13 and a half stone, something like that.
With one animal already accounted for, the Muddy Fox takes us to the middle of the island. Neil and Stevie have a good idea where they will be, and a good idea which ones they're hoping to take. Over the brow there are 3 reds. Neil asks Robert to take the middle hind first.
That was a good shot, Robert. Just keep the rifle handy and wave it off a moment. Lovely rifle, isn't it? To the extent if I go anywhere to shoot anything, I take the R8 with me. And I mean, I've shot everything with that, from eland to bears. In the theatre that we're using these rifles in, we're managing deer, so you're shooting one animal, but you're often watching a group because you're planning on shooting 1 or 2 individuals. And it's important that you see that first animal go down, and at the same time you're almost keeping an eye on your next target. And if you get a little muzzle flip, so you're losing target animals out of the picture, it takes you more time to reacquire the target and see what's going on. The thing I like about the 300 is the recoil that's there is a nice steady recoil.
More to do with the caliber than the actual rifle.
I think it's a good combination. I think the rifle's well balanced, the moderator makes a difference, and the caliber suits it.
It's the ergonomics as well.
Yeah.
It's because there's a reason that this swoops up. So they try to get the comb as high as possible with still allowing the ball to operate. And it's just steady. You've got your trigger hand is always relaxed. So that's the most triggering is the most important thing. If you yank the rifle because your hand is in an odd place. With this one, it's just literally the hand sort of falls naturally into a place that it already wants to be.
It's time to think about getting back to the boat. Neil's done what was needed.
It's been very successful. We came to shoot a few hinds, try and get the cull almost finished here. Well, another day here now and we'll be complete. So it's been hugely successful. Thanks to everybody involved. Well done, Robert. And we've some cracking venison to take home, and it's bang on time wise. We're trying all our best venison at the Christmas market. Another couple of weeks we should be done here.
You get bored of the scenery?
Never. This is one of the most beautiful places we go. But I mean, the weather like this makes it all the more pleasant. There's days here you've got your collar up and your hat down and you don't pay a great deal of attention to the scenery, but in a day like this it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. I first stalked here when I was 18 years old, but it's funny how you travel about different parts of the country and the world doing things and you end up coming back to a place that you started off with. So I'm very fond of Ardnamurchan. I think you are too. You'll not forget it.
As the sun drops, so does the temperature, but the water remains calm. It's been a real education seeing just how Neil and Stevie managed the deer and the extraction off this beautiful place. It's probably a very different story when conditions aren't quite so still and dry. If you'd like to find out more about West Highland hunting, visit westhighland-hunting.co.uk. And if you'd like to find out more about the Blaser range of rifles and shotguns, go to blasersporting.com. A really magical trip, and we'll have more from the west coast of Scotland over the next few weeks. Now, from the west of Scotland to a West End boy, it's David on the Fieldsports channel, News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Wildlife rangers are catching poachers in Africa using thermal. A video on the World Wildlife Fund's channel shows exciting footage of wildlife poachers being chased and captured by rangers in the Masai Mara in Kenya. Thermal detection cameras are part of WWF's Wildlife Crime Technology project. Prince William has asked for more action to protect endangered wildlife. Speaking at the Illegal Wildlife Trade Conference 2016 in Hanoi, Vietnam, he wants people in China and Southeast Asia to shun the use of rhino horn and other illegal wildlife trade products. You can watch his whole speech by clicking on the link on the screen. The Danish royal family has drawn fire from the Anses. The Queen, Crown Prince Frederik, Crown Prince Mary, Princess Josephine and Prince Vincent of Denmark enjoyed the traditional royal hunt in Grib Woods near Fredensborg Castle. PETA call it a poor parenting decision. It's official, hunting is good for wildlife. In a study published in the British Ecological Society's Journal of Applied Ecology, researchers at Utah State University show how hunting, along with planning and public education, are the keys to sustaining a healthy black bear population in New Jersey. Zeiss has launched a hunting app. It features ballistic information, a hunting diary, weather reports and maps. Plus, it'll back up all your info so you don't lose it. It's a kind of digital game book with benefits. A website has named Air Arms Hunting SA as the 10th most popular YouTube channel in South Africa. Fieldsports channel contributor Matt Dubber has run the channel since 2013 and it now has nearly 100,000 subscribers. And finally, wondering what to do on Christmas night? A couple of hunters in Alaska have come up with a new hunting game board. It's all about the highs and lows of stalking big game in the Alaskan wilderness, and it's called Gut Pile. Who's for a game of Gut Pile? You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now I hope you've been reflecting on Mr. King's sage words over the last few weeks in Shoot Curious. Well, this week, guns and shells.
Shoot Curious? A very British game shoot explained. How to dress. What is a beater? What is a sporting bird? If you have been invited and have no clue, then this is for you. No.
There's a number of absolute musts, and the first clearly is the gun. Take your gun. In fact, put it in its sleeve by the front door the night before you go. Second thing, which is an absolute must, cartridges. So put your cartridges in their cartridge bag next to the gun. And then the following morning, as you leave, those two will impede your passage and you will know to take them. On the subject of cartridges, always bring plenty. Imagine that your day is going to be twice as big as your best expectation. There is nothing as embarrassing as running out of cartridges during a day's shooting, except running out of cartridges halfway through a drive. That is an unforgivable mistake. I do know for a fact you can get sent home for that. And in fact, I know people that it has happened to. So take plenty of squibs. Let's talk a little bit now about the hardware, the gun itself that you're going to be using for shooting. So there are two basic types. They're double barrel shotguns. One of them is a side-by-side with the barrels one next door to the other. And the other one is the over and under. The barrels are stacked one on top of the other. Nowadays the over and under is probably the most widespread of the guns, of the double barrel guns used for shooting. There are single barrel guns which fire one shot. There are single barrel guns which fire more than one shot in succession. But the likelihood is you'll either be shooting with a side-by-side or an over and under. There are arguments which will go on till the cows come home about which is better for which kind of shooting. But it's generally accepted that the skill of the person using the gun is the most important aspect of the success of the day itself or the success of the activity. If you like shooting with one and you practice and you do it well, you'll have a fantastic time. You can have good days and you can have bad days. I've had good days with the side-by-side and I've had bad days with the side-by-side, but the same goes for over and under. The key is get a gun that fits you and practice with it. The more practice you get, the more fun it'll be. I always say to people that famous motto from the golfer who said, "It's funny, the more I practice, the luckier I get." And it's a motto which is well worth bearing in mind.
No.
If you want to find out more about the AYA shotguns that Edward sells or Game Boar's cartridges, click on the links on the screen. Next up, Crow is using ATN binoculars to spot foxes in Federal on the Farm. We are out with Crow, who's on the foxes. He hasn't been able to shoot them for a while, but is raring to go tonight in some new gear.
The new Jack Pike, all in onesies.
Plus, he has been troubled by people coming onto the farm with dogs, which is making his work much harder.
Tonight we're on the foxes for a change. We're using 70 grain federal ballistic tips. Hopefully we'll bump into a few. That's what I'm hoping.
Do you enjoy lamping, Mrs. C?
Yes, I do.
Mrs. C is out to help with the lamping, as apparently David's isn't up to scratch. She is also here to keep Andy in line.
Are you doing the top one or the bottom one?
He is using the Tikka T3 with a Steiner scope and a Stalon moderator with 70 grain federal ballistic tip bullets. The people with dogs chasing the wildlife on the farm have been a problem. Andy has picked up badgers, 11 foxes and countless roe and fallow deer that have been killed and left lying around.
Some of the badgers I've picked up have been shot. Some of the gangs, they must have rifles or guns of some sort, but the police, we've had no joy with the police. They know they're untouchable. The cars are either stolen or old wrecks, so they're not bothered if they ram you, so they're making my job a lot harder, and especially when it comes to farming.
Andy has had to put tree trunks and machines across gateways, paths and tracks to try to keep the unwanted guests out of the fields, but it hasn't always been enough. They have ploughed through the barriers with a truck and even tried smashing the barriers out of the way while Andy has been blocking off the spaces. After manoeuvring our way through the barriers, we make our way to the ground where he is shooting tonight. We are using some ATN infrared binoculars, and it isn't long before we spot the first fox of the evening. The foxes are jumpy and lamp shy because of the recent intruders. Crow has to shoot this one quickly. You can see what the ballistic tips do.
You see the way it acted. Yeah, it jumped and run and twisted about, and that's the damage it's done to it. As soon as the lamp's on them, they're on their feet, and I suppose they're used to getting a lamp on them, and they got a greyhound cross pit bull chasing them, so they're on their toes pretty quick. And badgers, I can't do nothing about that, and they're going to keep chasing them because it's good sport for them. Badgers don't run very fast, and that's what they train the old dogs on, so toughen them up. So it's a shame, really.
With Crow's aim to reduce the trespassers' killing sprees, he's going to continue to stay on top of everything on the farm while also making it harder for people to access the fields. This is all in the hope that they don't come back. The ATN binos are showing their worth.
Go on, get on it. That was quite handy. We just come down the drive here and just happened to get a glint in the back through the gap in the hedge. Oh, they worked a treat on that one. Alex was able to, it was coming in, didn't have to put the lamp on or anything, it was quite nice. And just as it's come in, Misha knew exactly where it was. Put the light on it, he turned to go away, and then I squeaked, just stopped him, and it was nice. No, it was textbook, that one. Oh, lovely shot, spot on. I don't know if you noticed when you was filming there, that Stalon sound moderator is just unbelievable. It makes less of a crack than my 1.7 does.
We continue on this side of the field. Andy is picking up objects at range with the binos.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, really well that is. Yeah.
That's a good roll.
Yeah, it's good. Alex, we was looking, all of us were looking that way, and I thought I'd just flick the lamp out behind us. Same old thing. No matter which way you're looking when you're in something like this. And it was behind us, so we just swung round.
Go on in, David.
And he wasn't too sure about the lamp. So I said to Alex, there was no dirt behind it. So I said to Alex, just watch it with the binoculars, and he watched it go down, and as soon as there was enough dirt behind it, I had a look with Make sure I put the lamp on, just look through the scope and squeak, got him to look up. Lovely.
When we get over to the fox, it puts Andy in a reminiscent mood.
When the foxes were worth a lot of money, or the skins were worth a lot of money, this would be a good one. It's got all the nice guard hairs here. That's a perfect coat, that one. Not a mark on it, not a blemish. That is a nice coat, that one. But it's the guard hairs, you can see them, ones sticking up, look. They're the ones. They are their main hairs, but yeah, that's what they called the guard hairs. Yeah, it's for the skins. That's a perfect one, that is. You got a blemish on him.
So back in the day, what were you getting for?
Well, a skin like that, in the early days, we'd probably get 20 quid for that, 25 quid. When I was a lot younger. What are we talking? When I was about, from about 9 up till when I was about 15, 16. I was still getting them. When I was 20, we was getting like £5 and £10 a skin. But yeah, but we wouldn't be shooting them with a 243. We'd be shooting with something like a 2.2 Hornet or something. Otherwise, you just, it's like the whole damage that it's done, you messed up your skin. So, but no, that's a lovely skin. I think Mrs. Crow might be getting something made out of fox skin for Christmas. I'm impressed with that. It's probably one of the better foxes I've shot for a long time.
This pretty fox brings a successful evening to an end. As always, it's been entertaining, but with an edge of tension this time. Let's hope those barriers keep the unwanted guests from venturing onto the fields in the future. Sounds like Andy used to make a few quid back in the day. Now, someone else who's given up on a useful income, Mario Toyce in Switzerland, used to make wildlife documentaries for Swiss national TV. Now he's one of the world's top hunting YouTubers. Mario Toyce is a Swiss filmmaker who has come up with an exceptional series about hunting ibex in Switzerland. His own story is no less unusual. He started as a wildlife cameraman with the Swiss national broadcaster. He left and now lives in a village high in the mountains on the Italian border. There are no cars. You can only get there by cable car, and both nature and hunting possibilities are all around him.
Yes, I live actually in the middle of the wildlife. Depends a little bit on the season, but most of all in springtime I have the red deers right in front of my house. During night, of course, they're not coming in the afternoon when I'm having barbecue. 100 years ago there were living 3,000 people still in this valley, and today we have left 800. For me there is a kind of a rule: the less people I find in an area, the more comfortable I feel, because there is more nature, there is more wildlife, and usually still enough people left to not get lost or not feeling lonely. So I came to this place. So I'm living my dream. I know also people who would say this is not a dream, this is a horror. How can you live there? There is nothing happening. You can do nothing. You cannot go to the cinema, you cannot go out, there is no bar, there is no nightlife. A big time of the year, it's cold. And yeah, you live in nature, you have the spiders in the house and little insects everywhere. Yeah, how can you live there? It's a horror.
Horror it may be for some people, but it's a happy horror for Mario, and one he has had all his life.
My father was and is a passionate hunter, and so I get the entry in this wonderful world of nature and adventure as a little boy. My wish from then on was always, if I have to work, please, it has to be something where I can spend a lot of time out in nature.
Mario's career as a filmmaker has always been marked by the view of the national TV people that nature and hunting are somehow separate. It's a problem everyone the world over will recognise.
It's very common that wildlife and nature movie makers are not really big fans of hunting. Either you are one or the other. And there is maybe one small difference to what I'm doing. For me, this was always the same. Hunting is not just one part of life. It's it's my life, as it is the nature. And this is the reason why I had to divide into two channels, Palorma Hunting and Palorma Nature, because I figured out that a lot of people, they cannot see that this is one thing. Life exists because of other life. Only the plants are able to grow and to live their living without killing another organism. Everything what is higher than a plant lives on the coasts of another living being. So we do, even the non-hunters, even the vegan people. It's not possible otherwise, because I'm not a tree.
So what's Mario's film all about? Well, it goes to the heart of how the Swiss hunt ibex. You don't just go out shooting here, you have to earn your ibex.
We in our canton have the huge privilege that if you start early enough hunting with 20, you will be able to hunt 4 times in your hunting life on ibex. As the hunter gets older, the buck will also be older. It's also not a question of money. It's because you are now in the age, 55 years at least, you have to be as a hunter, and you are now allowed to go for 1 time in a life on this special hunt, where even the trophy of this ibex is big, what of course is something very beautiful. It's a very special story. It's actually a guy who came into hunting by a hunting magazine. What is really amazing about his story is that he had bad luck. He had a brain stroke short before he would like to go on this ibex hunt, and then it took 2 years to recover. And at the day he had this stroke, he lost actually the dream that he would go 1 time in his life on an ibex hunt. But he fought back, and even if he still today do not have the full feeling in his legs, he went into this adventure, and the places he reached to get his ibex, it's so let's say I would not have the power, the mental power of this person. This is just adorable.
Just down the road from Mario's village is another village which I can't help but stop and investigate. They are nuts about hunting here. I'm outside a museum of hunting, which is on a busy road in the village of Stamper. But even here, though the exhibits are provided by hunters and celebrate hunting, there is a municipal view that this is a nature museum, not a hunting museum. It is people like Mario putting his films on YouTube who help the world link hunting and nature in their minds, and who help stop this current fad for hating hunters. Mario has put out the first of his ibex films on YouTube. More films will follow, and you can buy the whole series on Vimeo too. Readers of Swiss hunting magazine Jagd und Natur this month will be able to find out about Mario's work. Click on the link on the screen to have a look at his film on YouTube now. And what a lovely man Mario is. Now from Switzerland to the wider world of hunting and shooting in the last week on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Henrik Gustafsson writes to me from Sweden about one of his former students who has made a lovely film about a duck shoot. Henrik teaches hunting and game conservation, and the student Julius runs the Fotobergs Jakt channel on YouTube. Browning releases moose hunting in Sweden, a good place, and December a great time to try out Browning rifles. Hunter Alberto Rizzini is using a Browning Maral. Serval channel serves up wild boar hunting in Croatia 2016. It is November and he is out with a team of shooters from Austria in the Bukovac-Novakusa hunting ground. For more animals trotting through the forest, but a change of scene, Wisconsin Fisherman has produced Wisconsin Gun Deer Day 2 2016. He had been thinking about whether to buy a second doe tag, and he's glad he did. Back in the UK, Robin Foxer has been clearing more of the fox population on his local shoot again. He's out with the Tikka T3 and 223 and Night Sight Wolf R-Tech. Plus, there are bonus rabbits. We normally know Gamekeeper John for his catapult films and his excellent catapults. This is a well-made and instructional film about ferreting and what it involves. Just a couple of hours on a sunny day on a local permission. Turning to birds, it's good to see a film from a picker-upper's point of view. This is a Friends and Family Day pheasant and duck shooting by UK YouTube channel Tweeds and Pheasants. And finally, a different kind of bird hunting. This film starts as a family outing and turns into a guillemot hunting film called Turs in Labrador, where William Larkham Jr. makes this film guillemot or common murre shooting as a local tradition, and they roast the birds with vegetables afterwards. That's it for this week. If you have a YouTube film you'd like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that is it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please pop over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or subscribe to us on YouTube, or best of all, stick your email address into our register page and we'll contact you about our show. Field Sports Britain, it's at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday, and this has been Field Sports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.